Hi, I am Nirmal, and in previous episode we discussed about the demand forecasting in MBA Operation Management. And in these blogs or episode, we are discussing now the techniques of demand forecasting. So, broadly speaking, there are two approaches of demand forecasting. One is to obtain information about the likely purchase behavior of the buyer through collecting experts' opinion by conducting interviews with consumers. The other is to use past experience as a guide through a set of statistical techniques. So, both these techniques of demand forecasting rely on varying degrees of judgments. So, this first method is usually found suitable for short term forecasting in organizations, the latter for long term forecasting in organizations. There are specific techniques which fall each of these broad methods. So now we discuss about judgmental approaches to forecasting in organizations. By their nature, judgment based forecasts use subjective and quantitative data to forecast future outcomes. They inherently rely on expert opinions in organizations, experience, judgment, intuitions, conjunctions, and other soft data. Such techniques are often used when historical data are not available, as is the case with the introductions of a new product or services and in forecasting the impact of fundamental changes such as new technologies, environmental changes, culture changes, legal changes, and so forth. Some of the more common procedures including, now I am discussing about this. So first, simple survey methods in organizations for forecasting the demand for existing product in organizations. Such survey methods are often employed. So in this set of methods we may undertake the following exercise. Now we discuss about this. First, consumer survey or complete enumeration methods in organizations. So under this, the forecaster undertakes a complete survey of all consumers whose demand he intends to forecast. So once this information of all consumers, the principal merit of this method is that the forecaster does not introduce any bias or value judgment of his own. So he simply records the data and aggregates. But it is a very tedious and cumbersome process. So it is not feasible where a large number of consumers are involved. So moreover, if the data are wrongly recorded, this method will be totally useless in organizations. Now number 2, consumer survey, sample survey method in organizations. Under this method, the forecaster selects a fewer consuming units out of these relevant populations and then collects data on their probable demands for the product during the forecast period. So the total demand of the sample units is finally blown up to generate the total demands forecast. So compared to the former survey, this method is less tedious and less costly and subject to less data error also. But the choice of the sample is very critical. If the sample is properly chosen, then it will yield dependable results in organizations. Otherwise, there may be sampling errors. The sampling errors can decrease with every increase in sample size. Now number 3, end user method of consumer survey. So under this product, the sales of a product are projected through a survey of its end users. a product is used for final consumption or as an intermediate product in the productions of other goods in the domestic market, or it may be exported as well as imported. So the demands for final consumption and exports net of import are estimated through some other forecasting methods, and its demands also for intermediate use is estimated through a survey of its user industries. So number 2, consensus methods. As a alternative to the bottom-up survey approaches, consensus methods use a small group of individuals to develop general forecast in organizations. So experts opinion poll. In this method, the experts on the particular product whose demand is under study are requested to give their opinion or feel about the product. These experts dealing in the same or similar product are able to predict the likely sales of a given product in future period under different condition based on their experiences. So if the number of such experts is large and their experience based reactions are different, then an average sample or weighted is found to lead the unique forecast. Sometimes this method is also called the hunch method, but it replaces analysis by opinions, and it can thus turn out to be highly subjective in nature. Now number 2, reasoned opinions. Delphi technique. This is a variant of the opinion poll method. Here is an attempt to arrive at a consensus in an uncertain area by questioning a group of experts repeatedly until the responses appear to converge along a single line. In organizations, the participants are supplied with responses to previous questions, including seasoning from other in the group by coordinator or leader or operator of some sorts. So such feedbacks may result in a exert or expert revising his earlier opinion or in organizations. So this may lead to a narrowing down of the divergent views of the expert expressed earlier. So the Delphi techniques followed by the Greeks earlier thus generate reasoned opinion in place of unstructured opinion. But this is still a poor proxy for market behavior of economic variables. Judgmental techniques of demand forecasting are important in the are often used to determine an enterprise's strategy. In organizations, they are also used in more modern decisions, so such as determining the quality of a potential vendor by asking for reference, and there are many other reasonable applications. So it is true that judgment based techniques are an inadequate basis for a demand forecasting system in organizations. So but this is should not be construed to mean that judgment has no role to play in logistic forecasting, so that the salespeople have no knowledge to bring to the problem. In fact, it is often the case that sales and marketing people have valuable informations about sales promotions, so new products, competitors' activity, and so forth, which should be incorporated into the forecast somehow. So many organizations treat such data as additional information that is used to modify the existing forecast rather than as the baseline data used to create the forecast in the first place. Now we discuss about the experimental approaches to forecasting in organizations. So in the early stages of new product development, it is important to get some estimate of the level of potential demands for the product. So a variety of market research techniques are used to this end. Number one, customer surveys. So are sometimes conducted over the telephone or on street corners at shopping mall, and as forth the new product is displayed on describes and potential customer are asked whether they would be interested in purchasing the item. So while this approach can help to isolate attractive or unattractive product features, so experience has shown that intent to purchase as measured in this way is different to translate into a meaningful demand forecast. These fall short of being a true demand experiment. Number two, consumer panel are also used in the early phases of product development. So here a small group of potential customers are brought together in a room where they can use the product and discuss it among themselves. So panel numbers are often paid a normal amount for their participations. Like surveys, these procedures are more useful for analyzing product attributes than for estimating demand, and they do not constitute true demand experiments because no purchases take places in organization. Now test marketing so is often employed after new product development but prior to a full scale national launch of a new brand or product. So the idea is to choose a relatively small, reasonable, isolated yet somehow demographically typically market area. So the total marketing plan for the item including advertising, promotions and distribution tactics is rolled out and implemented in the test market, and measurement of product awareness, market penetrations and market share are made. So while these data are used to estimate potential sales to a larger national market, the emphasis here is usually on fine tuning the total marketing plan and ensuring that no problems or potential embarrassment have been overlooked. For example, Protector and Gamble extensively test marketed its Pringles potato chips product made with the fat substitute Olestra to assure that the product would be broadly acceptable to the market. Now number 4, scanner panel data. So procedure have recently been developed that permit demand experimentations or existing brands and products in these procedures. So a large set of household customers agrees to participate in an ongoing study of their grocery buying habits. So panel members agree to submit informations about the number of individuals in the household, their ages, so household income and so forth. Whenever they buy groceries at a supermarket, participating in the research, their household identity is captured along with the identity and price of every item they are purchased. So this is straightforward due to the use of UPC codes and optical scanners at checkout. So this procedure results in a rich database and observed customer buying behavior. The analyst is in positions to see each purchases in light of the full set of alternatives full set of alternatives and statistical models to the chosen brand that were available in the store at the time of purchase. So, including all other brands, prices, sizes, discount, deals, coupon, offers, and so on. So, statistical models such as discrete choice models can be used to analyze the relationship in the data. The manufacturer and the merchandiser are now in a position to test a price promotions and estimate its probable effect on on brand loyalty and brand switching behavior among customers in general. So this approach can develop valuable insight into demand behavior at the customer level, but once again it can be difficult to extend this insight directly into demand forecast in the logistics system. Now we discuss about complex statistical method. So we shall now move from simple to complex set of methods of demand forecasting. Such methods are taken usually from statistics. As such, you may be quite familiar with some of the statistical tools and techniques as a part of the quantitative methods for business decisions. So, time series analysis or trend methods. So, now we discuss about this. Under this method, the time series data on the under forecast are used to fit a trend line or curve either graphically or through statistical method of at least squares. The trend lines is worked out by lifting a trend equations to time series data with the aid of an estimation method. And the trend equations could take either a linear or any kind of non-linear form. And the trend method outlined above often yield a dependable forecast. So, the advantage in this method is that it does not require the formal knowledge of economic theory and the market. It only needs the time series data. The only limitation in this method is that it assumes that the past is repeated for short run forecast. Sometimes the time series analysis may not reveal a significant trend of any kind. So in that case, the moving average method or exponentially weighted moving average method is used to smoothen the series. Now, barometric techniques and lead lag indicators method. This consists in discovering a set of series of some variable which exhibits a close associations in their movement over a period of time. And for example, it shows the movement of agricultural income and the scale of tractors ST series. The movement of AY is simple that the ST, but the movement in ST takes place after a year's time lag compared to the movement in AY. So generally the biometric method has been used in some of the developed countries for predicting business cycle situations. For this purpose, some countries contract what are known as diffusion indices by combining the movement of a number of leading cities in the economy so that turning points in business activity could be discovered well in advance. Some of the limitations of this method may be noted. However, the leading indicator method does not tell you anything about the magnitude of the change that can be expected in the lagging series, but only the direction of change. Also, the lead period itself may be changed over time. Through our estimation, we may find out the best lifted lag period on the past data. So, but the same may not be true for the future. Finally, it may not be always possible to find out the leading, lagging, or coincident indicators of the variable for which a demand forecast is being attempted. Now, correlations and regression. So, this involves the use of economic methods to determine the nature and degree associations between among a set of variables. Econometric, you may recall, is the use of economic theory and statistical analysis and mathematical functions to determine the relationship between a development variables and one or more independent variables like price, income, advertisement, etc. in organizations. This relationship may be expressed in the form of a demand forecasting. The analysis can be carried with varying degree of complexity. Here we shall not get into the methods of finding out correlations, coefficient, or regressions equations. So we know that the regression given the estimated value of a B, you may forecast the expected sales. So the principal advantages of this method is that it is prescriptive as well as descriptive, and this is beside generating demand forecast. So thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe and